Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. We have a lot to go over in the mod collection and demo shop recap this week. I also found a way to get to the Netherlands again, so let's go ahead and do this. If you visit the mod shop collection today, at the time of recording, we actually still have one of the unique finishes left. Everything else has been sold. But first, let's start with this new series. Just like with those fancy colored headstock Flying Vs, they've introduced a new Racing Stripe series. In Bronze Racing Stripe, even though it looks more red, White Racing Stripe, which is still available, and Magic Racing Stripe. Alright, so what makes these things special is obviously there's a racing stripe on the front. They also appear to have matched the knobs on each and every single one of these, so this one gets the old amber knobs. There's also a racing stripe on the back of these. And then the next feature that I think most people are missing on this series is the headstock also has a racing stripe. This red/bronze one is definitely the easiest to see it on, so the center custom emblem has been masked off and then resprayed in that color. That's pretty cool. And the back sides of the headstock are also being marked 1 out of 6, so we've only seen half of the collection. Whether we'll see the next 3 next week, or if they'll just end up in the Gibson garage, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and find out. But what makes the white version different is it still has pickup covers on it. The other two this week did not. But once again, you get the white stripe, you get the white knobs, and then it's really hard to see, but yes, that is indeed white right here too. It just looks very similar to Mother of Pearl. But now let's look at this magic one. Unfortunately, there's no close-ups of the knob, but looking at the other series, obviously they didn't just leave these knobs regular, right? If you really take the time to look and zoom in here, you can see this one's white, that one's white, but these actually have a bluish tint to them, which I don't think I've ever seen within Gibson's catalog. And that kind of matches what they've got going on here, so it's great that they didn't break the theme on this one. They still found a way to kind of tie that in. Whoever bought this one, please send me some photos, because I'd be curious if these actually have just that same finish sprayed over top of them and they change at different angles. And then similar to that white one, it's really hard to see that this has the stripe right here too, but that appears to be like a sparkly white. I guess it could also change blue depending on the angles. I was tempted to buy all 3 because, like I was talking on those Flying Vs, having the complete set would be really cool. But something about these, despite being kind of cool, just struck me as, I don't know if there's a big market for something like this. Like if they were $4 grand, it would have been a no-brainer for me. But I think these were definitely priced for an end user. And not knowing if the next 3 would even be available to purchase, that would have broke up the set. But I just decided, nah, I'll leave them for someone else. And judging by the fact that this one has lasted over 26 hours in the shop, I think my gut feeling was right on this one. But hey, let's check out our next 3. We've got ES335 figured vintage Blacklight. So I think what they're going off of this one is like a vintage Blacklight poster that has a lot of purple hues and things like that going on. Not necessarily like blacklighting a guitar green. This thing was pretty cool. I especially like that they did spray over the headstock in like that same purple finish too. It was a complete refinish, so that's gonna have that like maybe a slightly metallic pearl finish to it, on top of having some figuring within the body. But when I saw the price tag, $4,200, I was thinking, aren't they normally like $3,500? But I was wrong. I was kind of thinking of the original 335s. You go over here to the figured tops, those are $4,000 brand new. So the fact that all that was only a $200 premium, I'm kind of kicking myself for not buying that one, because that would have been a cool finish to document. I don't know what I was thinking. However, even though Gibson's website could keep up with the traffic as far as loading pages, the cart glitch still happened because I wanted to test that out, so I might not have even been able to buy it anyways. But now check this thing out, Alpine Magic again, which if you notice that other Alpine Magic 54 custom has disappeared from the demo shop. Call the Gibson garage though, I bet it got moved to there. But this one, they gave it that sparkly white finish and they kind of gave it a psychedelic looking paisley pickguard, which I think looks pretty cool, especially with the blacked out plastics and hardware. Top things off, they also gave it the matching headstock. Now remember, this is a sparkly white finish, so it'll be a little bit different than the photos show you. That certainly had some character to it. And now let's check out Cherry Sunset. This was listed at $1,600. I mean, there's similar guitars out there, but what really made the studio special is the fact that they did the back. Man, I wish Gibson would go back to doing this, you know, getting studios to be fancy again. I like that it has the teardrop shape on the back, it's got the burst on the neck. It wouldn't surprise me if it also has it on the side, just like a regular custom. Now sure, they didn't quite get the burst job right on the headstock in my opinion, but if you were in the market for a new studio, this was a fantastic buy. And if you look here, it even came with the T-type pickups, Gibson's modern day take on the T-top. And then this SG was just a little bit weird, how they added the pick guard, have a mini humbucker in the bridge, and a P90 in the neck position. But that was available at $13. And then adding on to our weird pickup selections. For $2,000, that was a good deal for this 50 standard Goldtop, but they routed out the bridge for a humbucker. So you've got the P90 humbucker like the old BFGs. So even though it might not look like much, I guarantee you that would be a great player, as far as interesting tones go anyways. The third one of interesting modifications is a triple P90. They keep doing more and more of these within the mod collection, which I'm all for because that is a great layout. But that was on one of the Les Paul special tributes. They asked a big premium on that, and they got it. However, I think that's one of the older, nicer tributes, isn't it? Yeah, 2016. I personally really like those guitars. And then this one, yeah, it was kind of tempting too. They called it Factory Yellow, but it's a striped paint job. That just has Rick Nielsen all over it. It's out there, black and white with a bit of orange. I like the clear pick guard. It adds a lot to it. And the blacked out plastics, that's just interesting. But then I went to the back and I was like, ah, man, they didn't do the back and sides. But then I scrolled up here and it's like, oh, nice. We get the factory yellow stinger and a black neck. Mod collection guy who did that one up, pat yourself on the back. And of course, there were also a few other like player grade ones, but that's all I wanted to talk about this week. Before we go to the US demo shop, let's check out the European demo shop. Okay guys, you don't have to buy a VPN in order to access this shop anymore. However, if you're in the US and you try to find this by like typing this in your URL, yeah, it's not gonna work. You need to come down to the bottom of your page and select Netherlands within your shipping region. Most people will have it on US. I didn't realize that was on the bottom of the site because you used to be able to go over here and change your ships to, but since I couldn't access that page, I couldn't get to there. Right here is your workaround. So all these prices you're seeing are in USD with value added tax in the price now. But I want to be abundantly clear, this shop, you can only buy it if you're located in France or the Netherlands. At this time, they don't ship outside of that. So currently in the shop, we could just browse through. I mean, most of this isn't too exciting. If you check some of these out, you can find some that just have like ridiculous wear and tear to them. So the shop's still a little bit of a mystery, but let's go ahead and check out my favorite ones that I selected that I saw that were available. This has to be almost the nicest reissue I've ever seen. It's $6,700, including everything, if you're in either of those countries, but look at that top. It's not necessarily a monster top. It doesn't come and attack you, but it's so even. It's got a little bit of like almost a quiltiness. It has some flame figured patterning to it as well. This is a fantastic top. Like if I ordered one of these R9 60th anniversary reissues and this is what showed up, I would be flabbergasted and just so elated. So if you're in the Netherlands looking for one of these, pick this thing up because it's well worth it. But now check this thing out. For about $1,700, you can have a guitar that somebody gigged crazily and put marker on so they knew where to put their settings for everything. Like, what on earth? I mean, this is one of those high performance guitars. So it's actually got the Access heel carve back here, but great wood grain and color on that. It's got our titanium nut on it. What on earth is a traditional high performance? I thought that was what the standards were for. Man, by the end of the Henry J era, there were some very confusing names out there. But here we can see the large demo stamp on this one that the Netherlands shop does. And it looks like we have the captured photographer's soul again. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. Nice top that got all marked up. Cool. Check this 345 out. I just love the color of it. I'm not quite too sure on the price, but it is what it is. And then this Explorer standard figured. I mean, it's kind of pricey at $4,700, but these are interesting. So it's like a Les Paul standard blend in with an Explorer. So now we have a two-piece flame maple top. You have standard style inlays, which you just never see on an Explorer. So since we don't have any pick guard on this, they have to do the back route, so that makes it different from a regular Explorer. But that's interesting. Look at that headstock. That piece of mahogany just doesn't match this at all. That's kind of cool. But also like a Les Paul standard, you've got some binding along the top. This bass still seems like a screaming deal, especially including the value added tax and shipping. I mean, sure, it's kind of worn in, but still $700 for a legit Gibson that's kind of, one of their weirder body shapes, but hey, they were trying to do something. But now we've got the standard T in Desert Burst. So I wanted to talk about this one because it seems they're doing more modifications to the guitars, which is great because then we'd have two interesting shops to check out every week that has some cool custom finishes and changed parts. This seems to be fairly new, but look at this. Instead of that big, large, ugly demo stamp that they're putting on these things, this one has the Gibson USA style mod stamp, which looks a lot more attractive to me. So I think if you're going to buy one of these, maybe just buy one of the modified ones because they don't deface the back as much. If you're in the Netherlands, this is not the worst deal for you guys to get a Purple Burst piece, because you have to worry about import duties and taxes and things like that if you were to export one of these from the USA. And to find a clean first one that has had no modifications, that's probably going to cost you about $2,500 plus all the shipping. So it's a good deal for this market. In fact, I could see somebody in the US even paying that much for this one because it's hard to find pieces in 100% original shape. There's always something that's been changed on these guys. I mean, can you believe there was a time people would buy these brand new, ditch all the piece aspects, and then convert them to standard specs? Because it was like a cheap way to get a Les Paul standard back then. But nowadays, collectors are like, I want the all original ones. The piece series is really cool. I always loved the studs of the tailpiece having the peace signs in there. That's cool. And the tailpiece saying peace isn't too bad either. This root beer had a really nice top to it and did not seem to be that badly priced at $2,200. Similar story on this standard T in Bourbon Burst. Awesome top, fair price for that market. And the last one came from their sold listings. I just thought this creamed out white Les Paul looked pretty cool. Cream plastics, creamy finish, golden knobs. Something about that just says yeah, especially since they did it on the back. Reminds me of like some yogurt or something. All right, we're in the home stretch now. Back to the US, the Nashville, Tennessee demo shop. There were a few interesting ones and a couple of great deals. If you've got your popcorn, let's go ahead and dive in. By far the most bizarre offering this week is this 1960 reissue Les Paul Special double cut in an olive drab finish. We no longer have the pick guard that these normally have, or at least the tenon cover, so that looks kind of strange. And then we have an upside down neck pickup, uncovered bridge, they put a TP6 tailpiece on it, and then we get this olive drab green finish with the kind of weird looking layout, but I mean, it is correct for what it is. And then it almost looks like they gave the headstock a greened out vibe too. However, I think that's just yellowed over aged lacquer. And then the back, they didn't do too much here. It's just the olive drab green finish. But what I really like about this is the 3-ply binding. You don't see that too often in Gibson's catalog. And when you do see it, it's like on the 275, I believe, or other archtop semi-hollow type guitars. So to see it on an electric was kind of interesting. Now, if you're scared about this little line showing, that's either a reflection of the string or it's just showing where the neck joins into the body. It's the long neck tenon. I wouldn't be too scared of that. Normally that got covered over by a tenon cover. But check this case out. Oh man, please, Gibson, yes. I don't know why the custom shop has a Gibson USA, but I like how it kind of sticks out there. This looks like a fancy case to me. Gibson cases, in my opinion, from USA, they used to be really nice Canadian-made TKL ones, but recently those like black ones that look really cheap, they're just not looking high quality anymore. This case, I mean, I can still see that it has like the cheaper border around it, but the Tolex exterior, the logo, everything looks like what I expect Gibson to give you with a guitar. So hopefully this is going to become the new standard case because that looks smart. But this black custom, great deal for a lefty, only $3,600 brand new, no wait time. It was interesting to see one of these Les Paul signatures pop up. I believe these were from 2014. We can verify that with the 120th anniversary inlay. Man, people did not like those things brand new. But these have I believe it's a coil split switch. Might be a boost, honestly. It's been a while since I've looked into this model. But you still have the original pickguard on here that says Les Paul 99. And the other thing about 2014s are the fact that, yeah, they get black nuts. A lot of them did. It's something you kind of have to get accustomed to. And looking at the back, yeah, that looks like it's the decibel boost version because it has the battery in it. But check this thing out, $2,600. It's all blacked out. We've got dirty finger pickups in it. It's almost kind of like a sparkly black. And this looked so cool. And then when you get the full body shot, it's like, oh, nice, matching headstock. I mean, technically most Gibson headstocks are black, but matching it with this, it just looks so good. But then when I went to the back, I was like, oh my goodness, that's a modern? That happens so often when they modify these things. I don't recognize them until I see the back with their little comfort swoop right here. And now we've got another custom shop Les Paul Custom that they put a Bigsby on. So, I mean, that's kind of cool if you like Bigsbys. But what I wanted to share this one for is the tuners. They swapped them out for Grover Imperials. Grover Imperial tuners look really sweet on like 60s and 70s Gibsons. However, on a modern day one, they almost seem too big and clunky to actually get that same nice look. Like, check out my old Brazilian Rosewood Les Paul Custom. I had one of those that was modified to have the Grover Imperials, and they looked fantastic. But this one, I don't know, for some reason, just doesn't do it for me. But if it does for you, $38.99. The special had an interesting walnut stain to it. I just thought it was kind of cool. And now get this, a 50 standard, this time with the P90 variation, but they put piece knobs on it. And then they gave us maybe a coil split switch, and they have a clear rectangle right there. Like sometimes you see that on a Flying V Custom, or on some guitars, they would put them on the strap buttons if something went bad to cover up like additional screw holes if they had to move it. But this, whoa, what? It's like they gave it the electronics of one of those signatures. Oh, interesting. I gotta read the description on this one. Active boost circuit, okay, so that's that decibel boost. I think it's a 10 dB boost. But Burstbucker Pro pickups, I'm not sure if that's what came in those things or not. And yeah, it's from 2021. That's interesting. So 2021 Les Paul Standard with 2014 electronics. I like it. And then this next one's a lefty at $22.99. I just thought it was funny because these photos line up so well. It's like the guitar's just dancing. And the last one that's currently available at the time of recording is this Explorer Custom. So they modified it to have chromed out hardware. We've got the HP style knobs on here, a UFO style. That's kind of sweet looking. I mean, it doesn't look like they changed too much else, but you know, if you wanted one of these and you hate gold hardware, which there are people out there like that, this is perfect for you. As far as what's already sold, let's go ahead and dig into these. As far as exclusive custom paint jobs, we've got Toasted Marshmallow. I like it. It reminds me of the Ice Burst Goddess, which also reminds me of yogurt. But the fact that they creamed out the plastics to, you know, match that whole marshmallow vibe, and then the zebra pickups, that's kind of cool. The wrap tailpiece just looks out of place on that one. And then we got the white knobs. Full body shot looks all right. But then I got to the back and I was like, what? Why? Why does it have a black neck? I don't understand. That guitar had to have started as black. That's the only thing I could piece together, and they just did a body refinish. Looks so out of place. I think a brown would have looked nice. Like, this is the Marshmallow body on a stick. Maybe give it that like fake oak wood treatment. Like, check out the St. Patrick's SG to kind of understand what I'm talking about with that. Then that would have been a really cool guitar. But as it stands, I mean, I guess they could be using like a black chopstick or something, but yeah, wooden vibes would have been cooler there. This 275, steal of a deal. I think 2000 is the cheapest we've ever seen one of these. I was talking earlier how this is one of those models that you would see the 3-ply binding on. Now they covered it up quite considerably. That line right there shows you where the binding truly ends. But yeah, I really liked my 275 prototype that I reviewed. And then the last one for this week. Whoever bought this, please send me photos. I don't understand. Custom shop modified, exclusive custom paint, Ebony Mist. It just looks black. So I'm guessing this will look really cool in person. I mean, look, we've got a brass backplate on this. So I know there's a finish called Burgundy Mist. I think that might actually be from Fender, but that has a metallic nature to it. So I'm guessing this is kind of like black sparkle, but not sparkle, just metallic, like it has a sheen to it. This probably would be pretty cool in person. I mean, it's all gold out hardware, so it's got to match it. You can kind of see some of the effect maybe right there. I like how they have the golden aged knobs right here. So yeah, hopefully we get some nice beauty outside shots on this one, because it could be a really nice looking guitar. But I think most people missed this one because it just looked like one of the millions of other Ebony customs that ends up in the demo shop. They weren't even asking a premium for this one. $3,600, but I'm not sure if that was a top refin only or if it's on the back. It's just a little bit unclear. All right, troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed this week's recap. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.